Hello everybody, this is Paige and this is my channel Newbie Dice. Welcome to another Kings of War battle report, and this is for the Order of the Green Lady versus Ogres 2000 points.
Hello there! I like to watch battle reports to get better at games. So I started making short, summarized battle reports that focus on learning points. So welcome to my channel Newbie Dice. Do like, subscribe and hit the bell icon if you enjoy my videos.
Now welcome back. So there's been a few Order of the Green Lady battle reports on my channel so far, but actually this game was the first time I played Order of the Green Lady. And yeah, because sometimes I shuffle the order of the videos I release, so it's the first time I'm playing it. And this is also the King's Call to Arms Season 3 final round, round 6. So there is a current Season 4 of Call to Arms going on right now, so please don't be confused with which one this is from. So my opponent is a prominent Ogre player, but this time he's playing a totally brand new list. So it is all chariots and red goblin scouts list, so it is pretty speedy. And yeah, and I'm trying Order of the Green Lady for the very first time, so we'll see how it goes. Some things in my list that I'm trying out is the Avatar of the Green Lady and Water Elemental Hordes. Earth Elemental Hordes. Of course, this list is totally new to me, so I'm playing one Water Elemental Horde and one Earth Elemental Horde. So let's see how things goes. The scenario is control, and I've marked out the 6 areas on the map for you. So this is the way we deployed, and first turn, let's see what happens. Okay, so the opponent moved its units up like so, and one thing to take note is he kept all of his goblin scout troops back. So after he pushed up forward this way, I saw an opening, which was here, this chariot here. If I charged it, I think nothing else was in the front up to counter attack. So that is exactly what I did. I charged one Beast of Nature and one Pegasus in, and so I also blocked up this horde of chariot with the other Pegasus, and I set up my water elementals to charge it next. The Beast of Nature is also in range to charge it, if I'm not wrong. So these two units charging in the front, along with the Avatar of the Green Lady turning on Cloak of Death. That's why you see 1 damage on these 2 chariots, and total dealt 8 damage, and I think I wavered it. So which is a pretty good result so far. So one mistake I've made with my move this turn was that this ogre warlord could charge this druid in the front, because individual aligns to the attacker. So he just has to hit my corner, which is shown here, and then I turn to face him. So on hindsight, maybe I could have. So you'll notice this one can see but can't do it because of the angle he has to move, right? 90 and 90. Or rather, that's here and here. He might not hit. Maybe he could, right? So if it's just against this, just by aligning my druid up near to the unit, it will prevent it from charging, because it has to move in this angle to avoid these foot soldiers, and then he couldn't contact that front corner. Yeah, but I think this ogre can charge either way, because he could form a path that's basically along the same parallel angles of the water elementals and still hit the front of that front corner, even if I'm aligned behind my unit. So in this case, I probably should have kept my druid further back, right? So let's see what he does. So true enough, this is what he did. He charged this in and wavered my druid. So on the other hand, the Pegasus got killed off, and then now it's facing this way, right? I think everything else kind of shuffled a little. The warlords pulled back a little bit, I think all out of range. So let's see what I did on my turn. So I think this time around I didn't do very well in terms of damage for this one, because from 8 it only went to 10, and 1 damage came from Cloak of Death. So I think these 2 units in combined only dealt 1 damage. So a good first turn and a bad second turn to sort of balance out. On the other hand, there was a horde here. Okay, and I charged 2 units in, right? These 2 units went in, and it took 1 damage from took 3 damage earlier from the previous turn. It's gonna take 1 damage from Cloak of Death again, and my water elementals should deal 4.5 damage, and my Piece of Nature should deal about 3 to 4 damage, probably 3. Yeah. So add together, that's 3 point something damage probably. So add together, that's what, 10, 11 to 12 damage. So I need a 7 twice. So I'm definitely a little bit lucky there to get that route result. So now that that is out of the way, I think the Beast of Nature is out of the Ogre Warlord's front arc. Yeah, so it's facing this way because I push this Green Knights up in anticipation for a charge from the opponent, and then I could flank whatever or even rear charge whatever's stuck there. Okay, well, the Water Elementals on the other hand turn the other way to face the other side, because now that I failed to kill it, my unit here is in big trouble. Of course, I think I wavered it again, so my Pegasus is still pretty much safe because the flank is protected from the enemies, and nothing can charge it from the front. Okay, so let's see down at the bottom for my druid. I let the foot soldiers move forward into the terrain, anticipating charges, so that my druid could back up out of the front arc of this warlord. There's knights over here, position itself to face the warlord. And notice how I buddy up these 2 units. The ogres, sorry, these are earth elementals, and they're slightly angled, but I angle in a way that I'm protecting the flank. So basically, let me draw it out. This flag enemy standard bearer on the left can't charge the flank of the knights, while the ogre warlord on the right couldn't charge the flank of the earth elementals. So sometimes your base sizes are slightly different, but by angling, you see by angling this ogre chariot can't fit in, right? Because you don't have that enough space. So this is how you can buddy up to protect each other's flank. Alright, so everything is like that so far. So I probably have seen this that is more than 16 inch, but what I didn't see was this one, the goblins. So they're pretty fast. So let's see what the opponent did. So the goblins did go into my druid, hindered through that fence over there. So it still dealt 1 damage and wavered my druid again. Right. So what's happening at the bottom? The ogre warlord shuffled itself out of the front arc of the knights. So now it's threatening these 2 units once again. So let's see what happens in the mess of things happening in the middle. So my Beast of Nature got flanked by this ogre warlord and died immediately, I think. So that's pretty sad, because I think this unit did not charge. This because if it charged, it should have centered on the counter charge. It should have centered on the Beast of Nature. So I think it's probably wavered. So yeah, everything kind of shuffles around once again. So let's see what I do. So because this right flank seems to be a threat, right? I have nothing to charge it. So let's see what happens. Okay, so with that ogre warlord over here, I charge my Brotherhood on foot into it. It's hindered through the terrain, but they do hit on trees normally. So let's see what else happened over here. So I continue to pull my knights backwards to protect the back of the earth elementals, and anticipating the charge from this ogre warlord over here. So I think it's front on the army standard bearer and rear for the warlord. Okay, and notice that this Beast of Nature is here to anticipate the opponent as well. Okay, so right now we're like baiting charges from each other. So notice how this unit also moved up quite a fair bit. is there to start baiting the charge once again, to start the grind going. This one has a brew of sharpness, so it hits pretty accurately. But on hindsight, I think I did this wrong, and I'm punished for it. You'll see it in the next turn. So let's see what happens over here. The warlord that was charged by the infantry. So I think, let me just rewind one picture just to take note of where it is. So this guy over here, I'm going to draw it. It charged the Beast of Nature in the flank. I probably did not see that. There's just too much speed 8 and nimble going around. And then the foot soldiers that charged out got killed by the horde. Well, quite expectedly, but I guess I have positioned this water elemental supposedly to follow up. So what he did was he blocked up with this goblin troop. So this water elementals couldn't follow up, right? So what else happened over here? So he's charged the standard barrier against the earth elementals to pin it in place, while he's positioned his warlord once again out of the front arc of the horses to face the flank and the rear of these two units respectively. So on the right side, okay, so this is the mistake. The warlord charged in, pinning my knights in place, and without crushing, I doubt, even if I'm hitting on 2, I doubt I can kill the warlord. I think I'll do 16 attacks, right? So we have about 13 hits and only about 4 or 5 wounds, right? So it'll be hard to take out the warlord. And while this regiment over here has positioned itself to take me in, take my flank once the turn is over. Once I fail to kill him. So things are not looking the best for me. So what happened was I still have this very strong unit over here, Order of the Redemption, 20 attacks with Brew of Strength. That's crushing 3 on the charge if it's not hindered. So I charged this unit in. Let's change to the pen onto that horde, and this Beast of Nature took some damage, but it's not gone, so it charged in as well. Lost its flying, but it's still speed 10 Pathfinder. So let's see what happens. So true enough, the Beast of Nature and the Order of the Redemption took it out. So let's see if that's an expected result on average damage. So 20 attacks hitting on 3s, that's a 13 hits. Wounding on 2s, that's about 11 wounds. Right, for the Beast of Nature, so I'm expecting about 3 wounds, so 14 against a 17, 19. So that's a 5 twice to rout, or even once. Not sure if it's within range of any inspiring, but yeah, even if it is 5 twice to rout. And let's see, I think I did a healing aura. Probably I did a healing aura for my avatar, and I might have casted the Bane Chant on the beast just to make sure the horde goes down. Probably did. Okay, so this unit, this Green Knight on the right side, let me switch back to the laser pointer. On the right side dealt some damage to the warlord, but just not enough to kill. So the earth elementals did some damage to the enemy standard barrier, but still not enough to kill. So this image is a little bit cropped, so I'm showing you that the warlord is somewhere behind over here. So the warlord charged in, probably with the front assistance from the army standard barrier, took out the earth elementals. Wow. Okay. So the other unit that charged the Beast of Nature sort of came here. I think the game is coming to an end. I still have a lot of forces to punch. So we're trying to start to play for scenario now. He does have less unit strength on the board, if I'm not wrong, but he does have a lot of mobile 1 unit strength units. So the goblins here did a little bit more damage on the Beast of Nature, but luckily it held. I did heal it a little bit. It was at 5, it was at 7, then it went to 5. So it took 3 damage, but still held. So next, took out the goblins. And now these are the pieces left on the board. I think we're dancing around now, getting the control scenario. So this is the bottom of 6. We're just moving around now. Things is charging. Right, the 1, 2, 3 warlords and 1, 2 warlords remaining. I think there could be one more unit over here. Because of the cropped image, can't tell for sure. Right, so this is the end of the game, and this is our scoring. So maybe I think another warlord was here, somewhere here, so that he could secure this zone. So yep, so I got 4 for. So in control, right, the key thing is very common that you end with each of you holding 3 squares. So the key would be to hold the opponent's center square. I find that a lot of my games came down to it. So getting the opponent's center square is pretty important. So do take note of that. Of course, there are scenarios where you get the center square and your own square, and then you lose all the 4 sides. So that is still possible, but more often than not, the game is focused around the opponent's center square. But you do need to have enough unit strength units around to compete in the side squares as well. So let's look at some learning points. Okay, yeah, this is a pretty standard tactic, right? Both of us are doing it. Charge with chaff and position second wave to finish off the opponent. And sometimes he uses his ogre warlord as a chaff to follow up with a horde or regiment of chariots. So always try to find charges that's safe from reprisal. So that's what I did with my 2 monsters charging in at the start, and for him, his ogre warlord charging my druid and be in a position that nothing can threaten it. And yeah, of course, the elementals couldn't search because my only search option was attacked by the warlord, and even if it wasn't wavered, it would have been disordered and couldn't cast spells. So beware of that nimble corkscrew charge, right? So individuals are some way of preventing that nimble corkscrew charge, especially if the opponent can't move along the parallel axis of your front unit, is to stick the supporting individual at the back of your combat unit, so he can't reach the corner. With his angle that he has to dodge the front unit, he might not be able to hit your corner. Or if not, if he could, you have to keep it out of charge range, right? Yeah, but also on the other hand, um, especially when some people will forget this, they will charge their. So let me draw this out, right? So let's say your opponent is over here. I'll shade the opponent. Okay, so you charge your unit in like this, especially if it's a rectangular shaped unit. Then after that, you put your individuals behind it because you wanted it to be safe from enemies. Okay, so what happens right after this is when you take out this unit, you realize that you can't reform your unit to face any of the different directions because it would have hit your individual. So then you kind of stuck your own unit, and then it gets charged in the flank and so on and so forth. So remember that, especially when your unit just charged into the enemy, right? Don't stick your individual back there that blocks it from reforming. So a good rule of thumb is a little bit of space, especially if it's a rectangular unit. Probably a 1-inch space would be enough to allow your unit in front to reform freely. So anticipate how the unit will reform as well. So next, yeah, always play for the scenario. So even if you taken heavy casualties, doesn't mean it will be a big loss. So always play for that scenario. So with that, that is the end of this battle report and the end of the Call to Arms season 3. So this is when the season ran for 6 rounds. So I was pretty glad. There's 40 over players, and I was pretty glad to be somewhere in the top 10. So I was 6th position. Thing to take note about this Call to Arms is that some people take the opportunity of this league or tournament rather, so depend on how you call it, but basically they take this chance to play very new lists, myself included. My first 5 rounds I was pretty competitive playing this Basilean, but the 6th round I really wanted to try out of the Green Lady, so I went with it. So similarly, my opponent tried new lists, so a lot of players in this league might take this opportunity to try out new and funky lists as well, because on the universal battle you could create any unit you want, not restricted to physical models you own. Right? So pretty happy with this result, and now is season 4 of, as of this recording, this is season 4 of Call to Arms running right now. So right after this, the next battle report, I will start to cover my games in the season 4 of the Call to Arms tournament. Alright, so with that, this is the end. If you like my content, do remember to um, put your screen back to normal mode right now and hit that like, subscribe, and bell icon for notifications for my next report. And with that, I'll see you in the next report. Thank you.